Good morning, guys, and happy 4th. Today I just wanted to show you a quick tutorial on how to do two different options of the magic ring and then the chain method as well if you're wanting to work in the round to make projects such as socks, mittens, hats, or amigurumi. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you'll be using your 3 fingers on your less dominant hand, your non-dominant hand, and you're going to take the yarn and pull it over the top, and you're going to want kind of a lot of slack at the bottom because you're going to wrap it around the neck, the bottom 2 fingers twice. And then I just take the tail and pinch it with my pinky, and I take the initial side and pinch it with my thumb. So you've got it like this, once over the top, twice around the middle fingers. You're going to take your hook, insert it into those 2 loops, and you're going to grab the yarn that's back here behind your finger. So you'll grab it and pull it through the 2 loops, like so. Then you'll take it again and bring it through the loop you just created, like so. So now you have your working yarn, your tension, and your 2 loops that you're going to be working into. You're going to slide your fingers out. Some people like to chain one right here. I don't like to do that just because with amigurumi and such I don't chain anyways, because you can see the seam when you do that. I like to work just continuously in the round, and once you start doing this you'll understand what I mean. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is start single crocheting or whatever stitch you'll be using for your pattern inside these 2 loops here. So I'm going to take my yarn, I'm just pinching these loops, and I'm going to work my single crochets inside the circles. I'm going to do 6 because that's like the average number for starting projects, but just follow whatever your pattern says. So after you get the amount of stitches you need, the tail tends to sort of be in between these 2 loops here. I like to take it and pull it to the front to get it out of the way. And then you have 2 loops, one toward you at the bottom and one away from you. You'll take the one that's toward you and you'll pinch here, and you'll take the loop and you'll pull it to tighten the loop, to tighten the hole. You'll notice that this loop is starting to shrink. So just keep tugging until this hole right here can't be seen anymore. And that looks pretty good. Then we'll take the tail and close up the rest of the space with this extra loop here. So you'll just pinch it on the edge so you don't get in the way of the yarn closest to the ends of the stitches. And you will pull that loop and tighten it as much as you can to close up that space right there. Good. Then what you're going to do after this, it kind of looks almost like a half circle right now, but as you work in the round, it's going to create a circle. So the next round, it would be round 2, so you would like increase around 2 in here in each stitch, 2, 2, 2, 2, all the way around, and you're going to create a circle. So instead of working back and forth in rows, like for blankets and such, you're going to be working in a circle. And you'll grow the circle with increases, and then you can shrink it back down with decreases. And I showed you how to do that in a different video, so go ahead and check that out. So I just count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then for me, this stitch is always really tight right there because I don't do that chain 1 initially, and I don't do it again here because as you work in the round, if you work in spirals, you won't see a seam. If your pattern calls for chaining and then going around, you'll start to see a seam happen. And sometimes you'll want that intentionally in your work. For me, with most of the things I do, I don't want a seam, so I just work in a continuous spiral. So then the next method that you can do for a magic ring is pretty much the same idea. So you'll bring it over top, and instead of wrapping twice, you'll just wrap once, pinch it with your pinky, grab it, take that back yarn again, and bring it through twice, just like that. Then you'll work your single crochets or whatever stitch you're doing inside the loop. And this way is a little bit easier. You'll pull that tail to the front. You'll pull it tight. And then you'll continue to work around in a circle. So the reason why I don't personally like this method as much, I still do it occasionally, but I don't like it as much because this hole sometimes will start to open up as you work around, and then you have to keep tugging on this until you get so many rounds out. It just ends up getting loose and showing that hole a little bit. And the whole purpose of the magic ring is to kind of seamlessly create a spiral or a circle without that tiny hole. And then the third, and personally for me, the least preferred method for me, but it does work for people if they just either don't know the magic ring or don't like to do the magic ring, you will just make a slip knot and then chain whatever your pattern says, like 3 or 4. And then you will go ahead and slip stitch into the first chain. So you'll insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull it up, and then you'll slip stitch into that first. So then you create like you create like a tiny circle, and then you work your single crochets into that tiny circle all the way around. And as you can see, that tiny circle kind of becomes a big circle. Sometimes, for some projects, this is needed for whatever design you're creating. Sometimes you want a hole right there, like if you're making wreaths or something. But when I'm making dolls, I don't want that big hole to show, so that's why I like the double ring method of the magic ring, just because it tightens it all up real nice. But then, of course, after you get to this, then you would increase around. If you have stitch markers or a different color piece of yarn, then you would use that to mark your last stitch so you know where to start your new round. So then I'm just doing a few pieces here so you can see the second round beginning here. You can see that circle never gets closed up with the chain method. So now you've seen all 3 methods. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments. I hope you guys have a happy 4th and a fantastic day. See ya!